York Dukes baseball begins their first ever season, and they already got things started last Friday when they took on St. Paul and beat them 10-2. So York is 1-0, and they have 3 home games this week: Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, and then another road game on Saturday. So a busy week for York baseball, and we are chatting here with York head baseball coach Aaron Conyers. Aaron, thanks for the time today. First, what's it been like getting the season started? And I know you were supposed to play a home game last Thursday. That got rescheduled to today, and you got underway on Friday with a road game. What was all of that like, getting the season started and getting a new era underway here for York High baseball?
I mean, to have York baseball in York is pretty phenomenal. It's started from the Knights program on. We've had Legion for years, to where it's been almost time to start York High School baseball, and I'm pretty excited. Of course, it's going to be a little rough at the start because it's baseball in spring in Nebraska, and weather obviously has a big factor to play in that. So like this week we have 4 games, which is a lot for the guys, but I believe our guys, they have the mental capacity to do something like that. And with Legion, we've had some games, four games a week sometimes as well, to where they know how to play. It's just the pitch count and the pitcher. Obviously that becomes a factor because with NSAA rules, we have to oblige to certain pitching numbers as well.
Right. But yeah, busy week coming up. There was supposed to be the first game last Thursday against Holdridge, but that got rescheduled to today. So you take on Holdridge today in York, and then Tuesday Hastings, Friday Aurora, and then back on the road this weekend for some games. But first was St. Paul on Friday. That was a 10-2 win for you guys. What stood out in that one? I know Thomas Bondi hit the first ever home run for the Dukes. You had 13 strikeouts on the mound. What stood out in that first ever game against St. Paul?
For that, it was more of getting those jitters out. After our pregame, it was a pretty shaky pregame that we had, and basically after that, it was just we brought him up after the game, or after pregame. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I just told him, hey, let's get this out of our system. It's good to have butterflies. It's good to be nervous. It's good to be anxious, but we just have to settle those nerves down a little bit. And I think we only had 2 or 3 errors that game, which is good because considering we haven't practiced on a real baseball field all year long now that we have the turf up at Levitt and the turf at the field house that the university lets us use. But, yeah, it was a little shaky, but at the same time, I'm glad Thomas got that home run under his belt. He's going to be one of our better power hitters this year. But he also gave up the first ever home run as well as a pitcher, too. Yeah. So he made up for it in the 4th inning or whatever, whenever he hit that home run. So that was awesome.
Yeah, and 7 guys had at least 1 hit in that game there against St. Paul. And so now coming up, it's Holdridge today. That's as we're recording this, it's on Monday at 4:30, and then obviously Hastings coming up later this week as well. But Coach, my question now is, what sort of, and I don't know, since it's such a new program and everything you guys are kind of going through. Of course, they've all played baseball before, but as an organization with York High School, it's the first time going through this stuff. What sort of expectations or goals are out there for this team this season?
Goals. My goal is just to get as many people out for baseball next year and people to come back as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously with the retention rate in baseball, there's two other male sports going on, and I want these kids to have the best year possible that they could have. And those freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, I want them to come back knowing that we can be a successful program, even if it will be only our 2nd year. But I feel like we have the potential. We have some great guys on the team, good leaders, and I want them to be good baseball players, but I want them to be better men by the time they're done with me.
And what are you looking forward to this week? Take us into some of your thoughts on the 3 games at home to start out the week, and then Fairbury on the road on Friday. But with Holdridge and Hastings, 2 games, 2 days, what do we think about what you want to see this week from the guys?
With Holdridge, I just want them to go out and compete. I mean, again, it's going to be jitters for the first time because it's the first ever home game. It's the first time we've ever done this. It's the first time the community has ever seen something like this for baseball, for high school baseball in York, Nebraska. But I just want them to go out, compete, do the best to their ability. And same thing with Hastings. Hastings is a little more experienced program, as for us in Holdridge, we're first-year programs.
Yep.
And then on Friday, we played Aurora many times during the summer. And so we kind of know how their team is laid out and what they have available. But it's also hard from Legion as well, just because there's other sports to compete from. And who knows if those guys are playing Legion or high school baseball during the spring. They could be a track runner or a better soccer player. So it kind of differentiates in that aspect as well.
That was York baseball coach Aaron Conyers, and for more York baseball coverage, you could tune in to Cool Radio. We'll have the first game on Tuesday when they take on Hastings. We'll also be at Friday's game when they host Aurora. Game number 1 for the Dukes is on Monday at 4:30 at home against Holdridge.